but this is their Wyze Cam Outdoor V2. Now the V2 is what made all the difference. The Wyze Cam Outdoor V2 on this one, the starter bundle, now V2 is tiny, in right there in that little tiny print there. You will also almost not be able to tell the difference just looking at them. You'll have to probably open the app to know which one you've got. The V2 has the Starlight night vision sensor. So when they're doing the Color Nightvision ads that I've shown before, this one has that Color Nightvision capability. This one is completely wireless. So it is got, I believe it's a 5200 milliamp hour battery. We'll check the stats here in a sec. It's heavy. This thing is a little brick. And it's definitely different than the Wyze Cam V3. I don't have one sitting around, surprisingly, but it's definitely a different shape here. And then it's got the different front of the big circle of black there than the Wyze Cam. So it is battery powered, like I mentioned. It has the flexible base, very similar to the Wyze. The base is not magnetic, so you can't do that. It is, however, removable, and it's magnetic to the top of the base. Now, why would they do it this way? The way I've installed mine, it's actually on a tree out back. So I mounted it this way, and if I need to go recharge it, I take it out and I can do that. Now, charge rates vary from, I think they say a max of 6 months, but that would be like in a corner where nobody gets any alerts, to a maximum of like a month I've seen people get, or less if there's a firmware problem. But you know, the battery in here does last. The advantage though is that this thing is a platform for extensibility. Now, one thing you'll notice about mine that's slightly different is I've already pulled off the back seal. Now, if you're going to use this in a completely battery mode, there is a cover that covers the charging port and the on-off switch. So that's one of the other things about this that's important to point out, is if you're going to hook it up to solar like I did mine, you need to pull that cover off. Now, you could reinsert it later if you ever needed to, but that's one major difference that you'll see there. So mine doesn't have it. Let's take a look at the quality of this thing. Now, I didn't do an unboxing of it, but I'll tell you, back over here behind me, I actually have this little Star Wars looking repeater receiver. This is another big variation that comes with the Wyze Cam versus all the other ones. I showed you one from Daihoom the other day. I showed you an outdoor from Blue Rams during the Prime show, and they've got some great products. Again, all price competitive in this range, and they have different features. So the Blue Rams one doesn't have a base station. Wyze went with a base station, and I think it was a wise idea, and I'll tell you why. Well, one, it's got a charging port here, so you can actually charge the camera from the base if you want. It has an SD card slot on the base station. So you can see here, this has a little tiny card slot. You put an SD card in the base, somebody steals your camera, you still have the footage. Another thing is it's dual backup, because if you want to put a MicroSD in this, now I have never taken this apart, but you've got a little MicroSD slot in the camera itself as well. So I know some people are concerned about having the footage if the cloud is down or anything happens. That is absolutely capable right there, and that is it. Couple other questions. Can you do continuous live video with these? You could, but the battery life's going to suffer immensely. So that's one thing to be really careful of, is how much live video. I'm going to open up my Wyze app, and I'm going to pull this camera up. Again, this is one I just stole from outdoors. I was not able to demo this during Prime days, and I felt bad about that, so I wanted to show you what we've got going here. Now, you can see already in my hand the picture that it's got, and the picture that it's got is really good. Let me pull up the app here. So there I am. I'm going to be delayed. The voice is not going to match up because this camera has a delay. So if I clap real quick, you can see that there's about a 1 second delay, maybe 1.5. I can lift this thing up and I can move it around, kind of give you a studio tour. I know, again, all completely wireless. You notice I'm carrying this thing around, and it's battery powered. Now, mine just happens to be at like 15%. I don't know if it says that here. Let me go into that. Oh, 17%, and now it went up to 86. I think it's actually changing. That's at 320. Let's go to the highest resolution it'll get. Now, you'll notice there's a little graininess artifacting, and that's the compression that they're using on Wyze. But as it settles down a little bit here, you're going to notice that this is a 1080p camera, and it does have active night vision. It does have the Starlight night vision sensor, which means it's going to look really good. All of these cameras get really blown out by my studio lights because they're not designed for that dynamic range. But I can tell you outside, this thing looks really cool, and I'll throw that in as well. Other couple things that are interesting about this over all of the other models that I tested, this is the only one that has a travel mode. So you can connect not only this camera to your base, you can connect up to 4 cameras to every base unit. And there's the base unit is what I put in the carousel. You can add additional cameras. I think it's $10 less if you just buy the camera. But you can add up to 4 cameras, and then you can take these with you. So if you wanted to do like the most epic time lapse of a road trip on your car, you could put these in all corners of your car, take them with you with no Wi-Fi, or use them as a hotel security. And with no Wi-Fi, they'll continuously record locally on the base unit, which is pretty slick. So that's another advantage that none of the other manufacturers that I'm aware of use. And so this thing, again, has its own capability. Another big problem that we have is Wi-Fi signal strength outdoors. So where this, and the reason it didn't demo real well last time, is I keep this out in one of my outbuildings that's near my backyard that has internet, and then this thing connects Wi-Fi closer to the playground area that we have. So I don't have to have my Wi-Fi in my house, reach my camera that's in the backyard. I'm actually able to do that with this repeater, which is really slick. So really cool unit. Again, fairly small. Almost miss it if you weren't looking for it.